Voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch with the vast majority of Americans.
Divisive and disgusting speech that any president, certainly in my lifetime, has ever given. He essentially waged war on half of the country by saying,
well, you know, listen, if you don't have anything to say, you blab. You just go on and on and on and on and on and on.
The stage was set. The View had started yet another day. Before we dive in, let us know where you are watching from, and subscribe us, please, and stay till the end. Filled with its usual sarcastic banter and exaggerated gestures, the hosts sitting comfortably, ready to continue pushing their left-leaning agenda. The audience had seen it all before. Whoopi Goldberg, sitting at the top of the pyramid, confidently holding court over her panel. She would interrupt guests, bulldoze over opposing viewpoints, and present her opinions as though they were absolute truths. It was a routine, a dance, one that had been perfected over the years. But then something happened. A single comment from Karoline Leavitt would ignite a firestorm, one that no one saw coming. Karoline had been invited on the show in what appeared to be a harmless interview. She was a rising political figure, known for her conservative views, and Whoopi, ever the contrarian, was prepared to shoot down her opinions, just as she had with countless other guests. She probably underestimated Karoline, assuming her traditional playbook would work. But Karoline had done her homework. The moment the topic of wokeness came up, a term that the View panel practically worships, Whoopi couldn't resist. With her trademark smirk, she pointed at Karoline and boldly proclaimed, "Without wokeness, you wouldn't even have this job." It was the kind of comment that was sure to spark a back and forth, but it didn't go as Whoopi had expected. Before we dive in, let us know where you are watching from, and subscribe us, please, and stay till the end. The energy in the room shifted immediately. The usual eye rolls and snide remarks from the hosts fell silent. Even Joy Behar, Whoopi's longtime ally, appeared uneasy. Karoline didn't
democracy because we believe in putting America first. It's not radical to want to put your country and your own people first. It's not radical to want to have a strong border, a strong military, and to unleash the might of your own economy, not economies around the world. You know, we have seen cultural Marxism trickling its way through every institution in this country. The public school system, the higher education university system, Hollywood, big tech, the corrupt mainstream media that I fought against in President Trump's White House are indoctrinating my generation of Americans into hating our...
She didn't stumble over her words. Instead, she gave a knowing smile, a smile that said, "You just made a big mistake." Whoopi, always so quick with a response, now found herself speechless. She had just underestimated Karoline, and the young conservative was about to turn the tables in ways Whoopi couldn't have predicted. Before we dive in, let us know where you are watching from, and subscribe us, please, and stay till the end. The tension in the room was palpable. Whoopi sat back in her chair, trying to regain control of the conversation, but the smirk that had so often been her weapon seemed to evaporate in the face of Karoline's calm, collected demeanor. The audience could feel it. Whoopi was losing control. And this wasn't just any guest who was challenging her. This was Karoline Leavitt, someone who wasn't afraid to back up her words with facts and take on the prevailing cultural narrative of the day. Whoopi's attempt to undermine Karoline fell flat. Karoline didn't raise her voice, didn't lash out. She didn't need to. Instead, she calmly brought up hard facts, cold, undeniable numbers that painted a damning picture of the very woke programs Whoopi had championed. Karoline began detailing government spending reports, shining a light on taxpayer money being funneled into absurdly woke programs, gender studies in Guatemala, Sesame Street adaptations aimed at spreading American social activism abroad, and a host of other eyebrow-raising initiatives. These were the programs Whoopi had been so eager to defend, and Karoline wasn't about to let them slide. Before we dive in, let us know where you are watching from, and subscribe us, please, and stay till the end. With surgical precision, Karoline laid out how wokeness had evolved from a social movement into a political weapon. She showed how it was being used to silence and punish those who dared to oppose it, detailing the ways it had infiltrated every institution in America: public schools, higher education, Hollywood, big tech, and the corrupt mainstream media. As Karoline spoke, Whoopi's smug confidence began to falter. She wasn't laughing anymore. In fact, she couldn't muster a response. It wasn't just about the facts. It was about the composure Karoline displayed, unshakable, almost unnerving. She didn't rush to defend herself, didn't scramble for a comeback. She knew the facts were on her side, and that knowledge gave her a calm assurance that left Whoopi floundering. The tables had turned. For the first time in a long while, Whoopi Goldberg was not in control of the conversation. It was a remarkable moment, one that exposed the weakness of Whoopi's usual tactics. Her typical method, interrupting, belittling, and dismissing, wasn't going to work this time. Karoline wasn't interested in trading insults. She was here to discuss the issues and expose the fallacies in Whoopi's worldview. Before we dive in, let us know where you are watching from, and subscribe us, please, and stay till the end. The audience, usually quick to rally behind Whoopi, was silent. The tension in the room was thick, and it was clear that even the most loyal fans of The View didn't quite know how to react. Whoopi had found herself backed into a corner, and there was no easy escape. For once, the entire room was waiting for her to say something, anything, to turn the conversation in her favor. But Whoopi, for the first time in years, couldn't find the words. As the silence stretched on, it became clear that Whoopi was scrambling. This wasn't the type of conversation she was used to having. She had always been able to control the narrative, to shut down opposing voices, to dictate the direction of the discussion. But not today. Karoline had taken the floor, and Whoopi couldn't reclaim it. In that moment, Karoline pressed her advantage. She asked the question that Whoopi could not answer. If wokeness truly stood for diversity and inclusion, then why was it that conservative women, like Karoline, were the ones being attacked? Why, Karoline asked, do those who preach tolerance become vicious when confronted with someone who dares to challenge their ideology? Whoopi's usual defense mechanisms, her sharp retorts, her biting sarcasm, failed her. She couldn't respond to Karoline's clear-eyed challenge. Whoopi opened her mouth, but no words came out. She shifted uncomfortably in her chair, trying to gather herself, but nothing she said could undo the damage that had been done. Before we dive in, let us know where you are watching from, and subscribe us, please, and stay till the end. The audience, which had once cheered for Whoopi's every word, now sat in uncomfortable silence. Even the camera crew hesitated. Should they zoom in on Whoopi's stunned expression or cut to commercial? Whoopi's usual bravado was gone, replaced by an unsettling silence that was even more powerful than any argument Karoline could have made. It was clear now, Whoopi had crossed a line, and there was no going back. The world was watching, and Whoopi, who had spent years dominating the conversation on daytime TV, had just been completely outmatched. The fallout from that moment was swift and brutal. Social media exploded with memes and commentary, replaying Whoopi's stunned reaction over and over again. It was everywhere, on Twitter, Facebook, and countless blogs. Whoopi had always been the one who could dominate the narrative, but this time, Karoline Leavitt had flipped the script. The reaction from viewers was mixed, but the truth was undeniable. Whoopi had lost the battle. But this wasn't just about one moment. It was part of a larger pattern. Over the years, Whoopi had cultivated a reputation for saying controversial, sometimes downright offensive things on The View. She'd been involved in numerous scandals, from tone-deaf comments about the Holocaust to defending questionable figures. The View had become a breeding ground for controversy, and Whoopi was often at the center of it. Before we dive in, let us know where you are watching from, and subscribe us please and stay till the end. And now, the lawsuits were piling up. First, it was Carrie Underwood, then Elon Musk, and now Karoline Leavitt. With each lawsuit, ABC found itself in deeper water, forced to settle behind closed doors as advertisers pulled back and the show's reputation continued to crumble. But even Whoopi's staunchest defenders couldn't deny it anymore. The View was no longer the ratings powerhouse it once was. Advertisers were jumping ship, and ABC executives were in full panic mode. The show had lost its edge, and with the mounting controversies and defamation lawsuits, the network found itself questioning if it was even worth it to keep the show going. Before we dive in, let us know where you are watching from, and subscribe us please, and stay till the end. When the dust finally settled, it was clear that Whoopi's time on The View had come to an unexpected end. She had lost her hold over the show, and with her departure, the network was faced with a tough choice. Would they continue down the same path, or would they finally bring in someone new to shake things up? The View had reached a crossroads. The question was no longer whether Whoopi would continue to dominate the conversation, but whether the show could ever return to the heights it once enjoyed. If you like this video, then subscribe this channel